Dana Daniels, and this is Show and Tell. My guest today is Mr. Keith Sintay. Keith is a Disney animator. He's worked on such projects as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pocahontas, Star Wars, and The Avengers, and many others. Now, I know when you're thinking Star Wars, The Avengers animator, well, there's a lot of special effects going on in those movies, and they require animator, artists, to make these things happen. And Keith was going to give us a little tour of those special effects he did in those movies. This is a really fun episode, and I really did learn something amazing in this episode. You know the beginning of Star Wars when they have those words traveling through space and it gives you a little synopsis of what's happened? Well, those are special effects. They're not actual words floating through space. Please welcome my guest, Mr. Keith Sintay.
Yes. Hey, Dana. Can you hear me
Hey,
okay?
I can see you just fine. Okay, I see we got 3 screens because we got a lot of stuff to show.
And I'd like to say, first of all, though, thank you very much for inviting me onto your show. I am a fan of this show, Show and Tell. I think you do a great job with this, and to be counted in and asked to do this is a big thrill for me. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Keith. Well, it's a pleasure having you on. I'm honored to have you. So I noticed that in your room you have some Star Wars stuff. I can see peeking around the corner. It looks like R2-D2. Can you give us a little tour of the toys you have before we get into the animation?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. All right. So, yeah, you noticed R2 peeking out over here. So this is a full-size R2-D2. He was made by my friend Ken Stubbert, and the batteries are a bit low on him right now, so he's gonna complain and whine, but he does move around, and so it's fascinating to have, I hate to say it's a toy like this, more of a prop, very expensive prop, and my wife bought me you can see here's a Jawa as a companion, and over here I worked on the movie.
Your wife bought you a Jawa.
Yeah,
that's a sentence you don't hear very often.
She's the best. My wife, Connie.
Yes. Is she a Star Wars fan too, or is she just going with it?
She goes with it, which is fantastic. In fact, she pretends like she knows who Boba Fett is and everything. It's really cute.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah.
So I see you got K2. What's his name?
Yeah, K2SO from Rogue One. I had him commissioned. I was just thrilled to be able to work on this character. So prop makers out there in the world create these things, and I hunted someone down that could make that. Over here, I'm gonna turn the light on. You can see here's a Chewbacca hunted down. No, this is the head. I had him commissioned, and here's his bandolier and his weapon. But my obviously my big passion, you might have noticed, is over here, and you can see all about Vader.
Oh yeah.
So I have a Vader helmet from all of the different movies, and believe it or not, they are different. This one here is my pride and joy. This is from the creator and sculptor of the helmet, called Brian Muir. His name is Brian Muir, and he made this one, and this was made from the molds of the original Darth Vader from 1977, which appeared in the movie in 1977. Up here I had commissioned this is a Ralph McQuarrie painting turned into a real object. It is a wearable mask, but
does anyone else have a mask like that? And you said you had a commission. So has he made any others, or I never seen one?
He made several, but not a lot. I mean, there's very few of them out there.
That is a very cool looking Vader mask.
Thank you. Yeah, it is pretty intimidating.
You wonder why they didn't go with that?
I don't know. I guess Brian just decided to sculpt this one. But the thing that people don't know about these Vaders is that they are different from all the movies. So people look, why does he have so many of these? Because this one has a black tusk and a silver tusk. It's hand painted. And if you've never noticed, Dana, there's a Harlequin paint job. In other words, it's black here, silver here, black here, silver here. And all the Vader helmets are like that. This one.
So they're all so different. So it's like Darth Vader goes into his closet and goes, what do I wear today?
Exactly. He lost the widow's
I feel a little bit. I want to be a Harlequin today.
No, he's always been a Harlequin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But over here, my masterpiece. I actually made the mannequin and the stand for this guy. This is full-size Vader, and I wanted a particular pose. I wanted this pose where he's doing the Force choke, and I literally completed his this myself. I bought the costume. It's a screen accurate Empire Strikes Back, and when eventually I'm going to have it so that when you walk in the room, it's going to trigger the breathing. So you'll hear
That's great. Now you worked on, when people think of Star Wars, they don't think of animation in the movie, but there is a lot of animation in these movies, Star Wars, the Avengers, and you did some of that work. Can we go into that? Can you show us some film clips and point out some of the things that you drew in these movies that people are probably not even aware of that were drawings?
Sure.
Yeah.
And also I'd like to clarify a couple things that might be misconceptions by people out there and how we do this sort of thing nowadays. This was I got to pilot the Millennium Falcon, Dan. This is me. All the movement you see of this Falcon is me moving it, and all of these TIE fighters back here. And I actually placed the little AT-AT walkers too. So for me, beyond thrill. And
you drew the Millennium Falcon, and
I moved him. I moved it. So
you moved it?
If you don't mind, I'm going to take a moment to clarify this sort of thing. And when you're saying drawing, what we're really talking about is moving a digital puppet, I guess, if you will. So if I bring up a digital puppet, so think of this as like, he could be Iron Man. This could be, can you see him okay?
Yeah. That does not look like Iron Man.
No. Or the Millennium Falcon. But in fact,
yes.
This is the same sort of way that we move and animate, whether it's the Millennium Falcon or whether it's the Hulk or whether it's, all these other characters I've gotten the privilege to work on. So he's essentially, I'm going to try and make this brief here. He's essentially a digital puppet. And if I put him in what we call a wireframe mode, you can see these are wires that are sort of connected, hence the name wireframe. It's almost like you take a chicken wire mesh and you bend it together into the shape of this character here, right?
Yeah.
And then someone else comes in and creates, there's bones in here, and I don't know if the bones are showing. They call them joints. So all these little things are joints in here. You can see them extending down into his fingers and out into his tail. So then after the joints are put in, which moves this digital mesh, controls are put on so that allows me to actually move this guy. So for example, his tail. If I were to grab his tail and grab all these controls, I can move it all and curl it up or curl it down or side to side. Now let me turn the mesh back on so you can see what's happening. So picture that this is
wow.
Iron Man's tail, or
he should have,
or his arm. A better example would be like his arm. So I can move his arm, his little jaw, or if I wanted to move his head around. So basically, what I'm doing is, and then I can set a keyframe. You can see the timeline down here, and then if I move to another frame, I move it here. If I move to another frame, I move it here. So then when we run it together, he's kind of looking around.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So sort of frame by frame, we're acting through these digital puppets. And again, this is a character that I created, and it's for my own short that I'm working on. But it's no different, other than complexity, to how we do things like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
this is so different from what you said when you started out with a flip book.
Yes. So going from it, the motion is the same. So instead of making drawings that move, now we're moving a puppet. So it's still all about creating movement. If I may, I'd like to show you like a little bit of a breakdown and some things that the people might not like. For here, I did the TIE fighters. Oh, in fact, when I started on the Star Wars projects, of course, as a kid, I'm like, oh, is there a chance I can animate a TIE fighter? And so, of course, they gave me this shot, which has literally lots of TIE fighters. So all the ships, even the laser bolts we animated, believe it or not, and they're choreographed. there's a certain sequence to how the laser bolts are done. So here's
Wow.
K2SO,
Yeah.
and he's moved exactly like I was moving that beaver puppet. Make him look like he's walking, make him look like he's thumping that
And you
guy.
did this here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I
So
did.
you did the animation, and it's just like how you did it. Wow, it's so amazing.
Yeah, he's a digital puppet. These guys are real. And so if I go to this shot I did for Avengers, so this was a really
So like
complicated
oh,
shot.
okay.
Yeah, this is a really complicated shot that involved many elements all kind of sandwiched together. So what I had to do, if I go back a little bit, so on set, these X's weren't there, these roadblocks. The Jeep is real, the driver's real in this particular shot. This front wheel of Captain America's bike, you're gonna see him come in.
Yeah.
That is all digital.
Really?
When he comes racing in, it was me animating him racing in. Of course, the Hulk is digital, moved just like the. Oops, I went back too far. Just like the digital puppet of the beaver. Sorry, I went back too far there.
It's okay. I'm enjoying watching this over again.
So you see here, you know about green screen. So Thor was shot in front of a green screen. Scarlett Johansson was shot in front of a green screen, and so was Jeremy. With the arrows CG. In fact, when he fires any arrows, those are always CG.
So he's just pretending when he's shooting?
Yes, exactly. In fact, this shot here, you see Iron Man coming in. I had Iron Man. I animated him flying in, and the Hulk coming in. These guys on the ground, you see them shooting. They're completely fake and digital.
Really?
I post them. And one funny thing is for the commercial, when they use this as a commercial shot, on TV. I had to aim their guns downward so they weren't shooting at our heroes because of whatever motion picture rating system, blah, blah, blah. So in the movie, they're actually firing at the heroes. But in the commercial of this exact shot, they're shooting at the ground. It's really weird. But yeah, so then it goes to Iron Man's throwing a digital guy against the tree. Boink. In fact, when I was all the laser blasts and everything, I shot those out. They're little bits of geometry, and then the lighting team takes those. And I coordinated the camera, added a few more trees in here. Now, it's an entire team that puts this together. I'm only responsible for things that move. So all of the lighting, the shading, the textures are all done by different teams. So you see this shot where Captain America's throwing the motorcycle, completely digital. The bike is fake, he's fake, all completely me moving it. This Jeep.
So Chris Evans is at home.
Yes.
Having a Mai Tai while you're making him throw motorcycles.
Yep. These stuntmen are all fake. I digitally threw them out of the Jeep. I moved them one frame at a time. Same with the Jeep. It's all digital. Hulk, of course, is real. And I could go into the breakdowns of all these shots, but that's the essence. He's in this suit. I moved it frame by frame. Again, this wasn't motion capture, this one. The motion capture involves, instead of us taking raw models and moving them like you saw me do with the beaver, instead now what we do is if there's motion capture involved, then you take data that was captured or performance capture, and that gets integrated and we animate on top of that. It gives us a boost and a head start. So this is just a very, very complicated mesh right here. You're looking at these guys. Very complicated. Many surfaces.
It says a lot about the actors to be able to act with nothing around them and just know that this is going to be added in.
Yes.
I mean, it is. I mean, even Jerry, the guy who plays Hawkeye, that shoot the arrow.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he's got to mime it. He's just miming.
Yeah, he's got really the miming of everything.
This poor dog. This is Michael Bay's dog, and his name is Bone Crusher in real life. His name's Bones in the movie, and they're the most beautiful. I got to meet them in person. But this little robot's pulling his ear, and this patient little dog, watch. So there's not obviously a robot pulling his ear in real life. In real life, it was a guy taking a pair of kitchen tongs real softly and tugging on the dog's ear, and they paint that out, and my robot matches what so I animate him in there. So obviously the dog's real, but all the movement on the characters.
Wow.
I'd like to show you something, if I may.
Sure.
Because I started out, like I said, as a traditional animator. And
about that.
Yeah. So let me just show you this real quick. So this is what it looks like. The drawing of Esmeralda says, she says, I know it seems absurd, but it had to be real. So she says, hello, I know it seems absurd. And then she takes a breath. And then she's going into her butt. It had to be real. So all of these drawings, just to say that. Yeah, so that's a little bit about, the traditional way that we did it was hand-drawn animation. And
so
then,
you have to really relearn a lot of different things or learn new methods for stuff. I mean, how long did it take you to learn to do the computer stuff? Because you started out with drawing and flipping.
Yeah, because you get so used to drawing everything, and you draw it really quick. Then all of a sudden, you got to manipulate this digital puppet, make that seem as fluid as what you did, with the drawing. And to be honest, it was a struggle for a lot of us. We came from that world. I knew how to animate and make things move realistically, or cartoony, And so it took about I like to say a movie and a half. So maybe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 years to really feel comfortable. Wow. So when I started out, it was clunky. Now I teach animation. So wow. I come from a place of having done traditional hand-drawn animation and CG. The only one I haven't done is stop motion, which I would be thrilled to do.
And you've done some work on television, I understand.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of from a show called Titans. So this is a digital puppet, again, that I manipulated to look like a real tiger. So we study movement like crazy. So here he is transforming into the boy. So, I have like lots of reference of tigers and things like that when I'm animating something. Like this is my digital tiger. I try to make him look as real as possible.
Well, even like the old Disney animators, when they were doing, the early Disney films, would bring in a live animal and sit around and watch them.
Yes, precisely. So luckily nowadays, we have access to videos on YouTube and, things of that nature. But I really, like I said, I love animals. So anytime I get the chance to animate any quadruped, four-legged creatures.
So that tiger's all your animation there?
Completely, 100%. And now you can see us. Look at the paws; they're turning into hands. This is where he's transforming. So here he goes. He's turning into the Beast Boy. Believe it or not, here, let me show you something. See these are some stolen video games that he just took from the store.
Yeah.
Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Those are digital. Those are fake.
Not there.
Yeah. Those are sitting. Most of the grass is fake too. So Supergirl worked on that for the series. I'm the supervising animator of that show.
Really?
Yeah, and along with other ones. I mean, there's just so many that we do. And here's an alien that I did.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really ugly. My friend.
Is he playing with was that an Iron Man doll he was shaking around?
It was their own character, which is sort of like Ant-Man character.
Oh.
This was a takeoff on E.T., by the way. This whole episode was just a rip-off of E.T. It was supposed to be funny. It was fun. So I'd like to show you now, if you don't mind, Dana, a little demo on drawing.
Yes, please.
Two of the things that I think are really, I don't know, for me it's fun, are Mickey Mouse. So I figured out a formula, like how to draw Mickey Mouse in a way that kind of works and makes sense. So I'll try and be brief about this. So you just obviously start with a circle. You can bisect it and add all the cross lines to figure out exactly which way he's looking. But the basics are you draw in his nose. So this shape kind of comes in a little bit to about the midpoint of where you want it to be. This is the hardest part of his face, by the way. So now one of the rules is his mouth has to stay inside this circle. So it goes backward and stays in here like this. If you were to draw it down here, it suddenly becomes a flappy mouth and it's not so much Mickey. So you stay inside the circle. And then the nose is not just a oval shape or a circle. It's actually a straight line mostly against a curved line, which gives you this bean shape. So it's like more of a straight against a curve.
Oh, wow.
See how it makes that little shape?
Yeah.
Now, then you draw, you bring down the eyebrow thing. He's got the little widow's peak up here. Now, we don't ever see this side when he's in a 3/4 view. We don't ever see this side of his fur, or whatever you want to call it, on that side. If you do, he starts looking like a bear. So you create the cheek with this. So if I were to draw this like this, we never, that's a no-no. So in a 3/4 view, it's just the skin there. All right, so here's a big thing, where to place the ears. If you draw, and if you think of an invisible line from where the nose is and draw it back where this tip is, you drew that little corner, and draw that straight back, that bisects the middle of where the ear would be.
Wow.
So it goes way back. And then the other one kind of sits. So he's got ears that are really far back on his head. So depending on where you draw that, that kind of is like a rule of thumb, rule of ear. And then the rest is just kind of drawing him in. And now, now as far, you can add eyebrows, depending on what you want him to do. But that's pretty much the Mickey. Now, so real quick, Mickey is 3 heads high. That's why babies are so cute. So, and I don't know, you can edit all this out if it gets into too much boringness. But I'm going to quickly show you why he's cute, because he stays at the height of about 3 heads. So
oh, really?
Yeah. So in other words, if you measure how big you draw his head, he's got to stay within 3 heads of that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Keith.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's so great. I mean, everything you have here is just amazing and very impressive. Wow. Thanks so much for sharing everything. And I can't wait to get this one out and edited, and just fascinating. I was just sitting here enjoying it so much. And it's like, I had no idea all that happened in those movies with the animation. That's just...
I really appreciate the fact that you got to let me show so many different things. And I know you're going to do what you can to condense this down, but...
well, maybe not. You know what?
it's up to you. I leave it in your hands. You're an expert. So.
Well, thank you, Keith. I very much. And let's everybody say goodbye to Keith. You can say goodbye.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Dana.
Say goodbye.
It's been a pleasure, sir. It's been a real pleasure.
All right. Till next time. Everyone, goodbye. We'll see you next time.
I hate goodbyes.
Yeah.
All right, bye, Dan. Thank you.
Sure.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.